Edwin Glover notes in his sesquicentennial History of Knoxville, Tioga County, Pennsylvania, that much of the history of Knoxville has been lost with the years. We have succeeded in rescuing a bit here and there, never before recorded, and destined for probable oblivion. We regret that we have not been more successful in this respect. However, this is our attempt to catch up with history and to bring it forward.
All right, it's a dreary day here, and I believe I'm standing about where Marshall stood 30 years ago. You can see there's some trees in the way, and there's buildings to the right. As a matter of fact, he said our house is built in '94. If those trees weren't there, you still couldn't see the Purina Chow because it is torn down last fall. And there's Knoxville and the driveway with some additional driveways, and there's the pond. We just see the corner of the pavilion down there. There is play setting trees that weren't in his video. And then he made note that down there is Doc Bush's house. It is still Doc Bush's house, but as you can see, the trees have grown over it. He may have stood slightly behind where I am, but there's a building there now. So again, that is the view of Knoxville that he showed, and if you study it, there are several more houses than were there in 1992.
Good morning. This is Nola Ream at Gary's Body Shop. Yeah, so go ahead, Nola, and tell us here in 2021 a little bit about your business next door in the garage, please.
We started the business here in 1985. Gary was laid off from the A&P and went into body work. And eventually our son started working with him, and he's more or less taken it over. He runs it now.
Okay.
So.
And his name is?
Michael.
Michael. And he lives nearby?
Next door, cross.
Okay, all right. So so Michael and your husband are they doing all kinds of mechanical work?
Yes,
not just
they
body
have.
work?
Gary's really retired, but right now Mike is so busy, he's out there helping him.
Okay, all right. When he went into the business in '85, he had not had a garage before.
He'd rented one outside of town, and we had to leave that suddenly, and so we built one here. Gary's mother lived here, but we owned the property, and we built the garage here and have added on twice. And
Okay, and you're on Northeast Street. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll take a picture of the outside maybe when we leave.
if you can get near it.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Would you mind if we walk next door and see if we can take a glimpse of either Gary or Mike?
We can find one of them. Yes.
Okay. And I sometimes have seen Mike driving a rollback truck. He has towing service as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly for our own use. To get the vehicles that can't be driven, or to take them someplace else to a dealer to be done. Have something done.
Okay. And how many cars might be parked out here on any given day?
About 30.
Okay. Waiting for parts.
Right now you cannot get parts.
Right.
And that's the problem.
During the COVID,
Yeah.
so that's been going on for a year and a half.
Good. Yeah.
Right? Okay. All right. Well, thank you. How about we take a walk next door?
Okay.
Thank you, Nola. Good morning. So this is Gary Ream, and Gary, you've got your Gary's Body Shop and your name tag right on, so we know who you are.
Yeah.
So, and your wife already told me a little bit about you and your business. So we were going to head over here to see how many cars are parked over there waiting for parts. And is there anything that you'd like to add about what you're up to today?
Well,
you're real busy.
I'm not doing too much today. Yeah.
Okay, so you're supposed to be retired, but you're busy as ever.
Well, I'm helping them. That's all.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you.
Keeps me out of the house.
Okay, thanks.
In 2012 to 2013, the Knoxville Public Library underwent a renovation to extend the house into a much larger area for their books and supplies. We at the Knoxville Public Library feel so grateful for the organization and community support that we have had over the years and still continue to have. Some of those events include CV Chorus, when they come to share Christmas carols with us. In the past, Mr. Bruce Weaver and friends. For our teacher friends, when they come and help with community programs and our summer programming. For our winter series, quality programs for adults. Even celebrating our 100th anniversary in 2021 with a Roaring Twenties party, and of course a sneak peek at what's coming in the next 30 years.
I'm Gene Seelye. I live currently in Wellsboro, but I used to live in Knoxville and was at the library a lot. But Sherry, the librarian, has asked me if I would say something about the Brewster family who used to live in this house. Abby Brewster was a McNeil Billings Brewster. She was born in 1864 and died in 1956. Her husband was Horace Isaac Brewster, and he was born in 1853 and died in 1918. They had two sons, Robert, who was born in 1893 and died in 1894, and Junior, who was born in 1895 and died in 1913, and they're all buried in the Knoxville Cemetery. I was 22 years old when Mrs. Brewster died, and the stories that I remember came from my father, Clifton Seelye, from Ed Glover, from Bob Edgecombe, and Brian Edgecombe. And so I just remember a few things since at that time I was teaching school. But I can remember a couple things about Mrs. Brewster. One of the things that I remember was whenever she left the house, she always had a hat and gloves, something that people do not do anymore. There are a couple things that are interesting that I've heard. They said that when Mrs. Brewster had a man in the house would come for some reason, not her, other than her husband, that as soon as they left the house, she would fumigate the house after they were here. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. In the library here, there is a chandelier that hangs in the stairwell, and it's been electrified. But originally, there were 3 of those chandeliers in the living room of the library, and they were down so low that you pretty much had to walk around them. So they had, when the library took over, they had those removed, and one was electrified, and as I said, it's in the stairwell now. I can't remember whatever happened to the other 2. It maybe was that they sold them. I don't think they stored them on the 3rd floor. You don't remember any being stored, okay.
Yeah, they're definitely not there.
The story is that when Mr. Brewster was building the house, this house. Apparently some of his workmen weren't too happy with him, and so on his noon hour, some of the workmen took some of his tools and nailed them to the side of the house. I can't substantiate that, but that's a story I've always heard. When my dad, Clifton Seelye, was alive, he was about the same age as the Brewster boys. And one day, when they were playing up on what is now the 3rd floor or the ballroom, one of the boys broke a dish that his mother had given them, and he didn't want his mother to find out, so he opened the back window, which would be the back window of the ballroom, and threw it out in the backyard so that his mother wouldn't find the dish. Again, I think my father is the one that told me that story. One day when Mr. Glover, who lived next door, Ed Glover, he hadn't seen Mrs. Brewster for a while, and so he came over and he knocked on the door and couldn't raise her and wondered what had happened to her. So he came around to the side where the tower is outside, got a ladder, and went up to the window in the tower. That would be where Mrs. Brewster's bedroom was, in the front of the house, and opened the window and crawled in and found her dead in bed. That story, I've heard several people say that was true. Abby's bedroom upstairs had 2 doors, and they were double doors at one time. In other words, there were 2 swinging doors on each of the 2 doors, each of the 2 openings. And now, of course, there's just 1 door. The other has been removed. When Abby died, her grandson, Ernest Brewster, lived in Rochester, New York. He had charge of settling up her estate. There was an auction with the contents in the backyard of the house. I can remember coming to that, and I think I bought a couple of dishes that I have at home. Sag Hazlett, I believe, was the auctioneer at the time. But most everything was sold, and the grandson decided he wanted to take the 2 gas lights on the newel posts for the stairs as you go upstairs. So he removed the 2 gas fixtures, gas lights, took them to Rochester, and sometime later he came back and he said, I think these belong here. So the library was glad to get them back, and they electrified them when they got them back.
Yeah, you know, all of that. And so the community is really kind of unique on the river where we're located in Cuyahoga County. And the valley today remains fertile, and you go up and down. It's not cropped like it was years ago. You'll see a corn, you'll see some graves.
I noticed that, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You'll see evidence of
some of it's really up too.
For the larger, yeah. But this particular line, and the way the story came was, I was going to do a layout from Gailton to Addison, and everything in between, and everybody said it's too much. So we kicked it around for a year, and one day Diane said, why don't we do Knoxville? And I said, yeah, I can do that from memory. So this is memory,
Yeah.
and when she came to build, she needed pictures, so we came over and took pictures of places. She said it could have worked in my mind, I can't imagine it. But that's kind of some history,
Sure.
you know, as
inspiration.
farming was the key. It was logged before that.
Right, you had a tannery here.
In the valley,
Yeah.
Westfield and that.
Okay.
Not right here.
But there were logs that were, horse and buggy to Pine Creek, shipped all the way to Baltimore.
Okay.
And that was pre-farming,
Sure.
pre-fertile valley.
So did the B&O come from the south, or did it come in from the west?
The BNS came from Gailton, Wellsville,
Wasn't it
Madison,
Baltimore, Ohio?
Baltimore, Ohio.
Okay.
This was a spur.
Right, okay.
This was not the main line.
From where did it come? North From the south or is it coming from the west?
The B&O, BNS in Addison, it interchanged there with the Erie,
Okay.
and it came through here and up to Gilpin, and back it also interchanged over there with the Erie. And the New York Central interchanged at Lawrenceville and Corning.
Okay.
And their main line was, and went up as far as Ulysses. Ulysses.
Yeah.
And there, of course, in those days, the real early days, there were like 2 passenger trains a day on each rail. We drove.
So here we are in the Knoxville post office, and there are always wonders behind what is in the door of the mailbox. Is the mail there? It might be there, but look behind there. Miss Bonnie has a decoration back there. It's like a portal to a special world. Here we are in Knoxville Post Office on Friday, November the 5th, and the postmaster is going to tell us a little bit about herself and what she does here.
Okay, I'm actually a clerk. The postmaster is in Westfield. Our mail comes from Harrisburg and it comes up in the morning to Westfield. It gets sorted there approximately around 7:30. I receive my mail with the carrier that goes around through town, and that's approximately 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on how Harrisburg made out with our mail. I help customers pick out packaging for their things they want to send away. I work the post office boxes. I get all the mail that comes in from people that are selling things online, or maybe they just are sending something to a loved one. And I get it ready on this cart for the carrier that comes in at 4 o'clock. And then the mail goes back down through the valley where the first pickup, and it ends up in Harrisburg at the end of the day.
Okay, so now in 2021, we go back and forth between Harrisburg a lot with the mail. All the mail from here goes to Harrisburg and back. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And some of the mail routes are split, like the rural routes, like down Route 49. Her vehicle doesn't stop here anymore.
No, she does
so
not. She goes up and around Merrick Hill and Butler Hill and all the rural. And then we have an in-town carrier, and she runs all along the main road and some of the side streets. And when the carrier does come at the end of the day, he stops here, Osceola, Elkland, goes to Wellsboro, and then he's done, and someone else picks it up from Wellsboro and takes it down the line until they get to Harrisburg.
Okay, all right. And your name is Bonnie?
I am Bonnie.
Yes.
Jean Bloom.
Bonnie Bloom. And how long have you been here at this post?
I've been almost 7 years at this post.
Okay.
I did work in Sabensville for 2 years.
Okay, all right. And what is your favorite part about being in this office?
I enjoy customers that come in and everybody has a problem, and I like to be a problem solver.
Right. So if someone, for instance, a military mom who has a son in Spain or something, you kind of help give them advice on which kind of box is going to work the best for what they want to send, and
That's
help
correct.
them fill out the forms to go through customs. Right. And this has been a busy year for shipping. Have you noticed more mail orders since COVID last year?
I have noticed more. Normally we receive maybe 4 packages a day for the post office boxes. We're receiving 20 to 30 packages a day for the same people, and everyone's ordering online and receiving. And I have parcel boxes that are full, and when I can't get a hold of someone, I put it on the shelf and leave them a little ticket saying to stop in to see me.
Right. Okay. So that's sort of the way things have changed in our shopping habits,
Yes.
Both for internet shopping and also because of COVID. A lot more shipping through the post office.
That's right.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you, Bonnie. We appreciate your being part of our library project.
Well, thank you, Ellen.
Have a great day.
You have a great day too.
Oh, the vaccine?
Yeah.
Oh,
Here
okay.
you go.
Can we do that now?
Not while he's sick.
Okay.
All right, buddy. You ready? Now this will stay. There you go. Oh, man. Oh, but you're so brave, aren't you? You brave little eagle. There you go. Much better. Yeah. That'll make you feel better. Okay. All right, so that's that.
You take good care of our animals.
He's a snob, but we love him. You think, boy?
Now, how long have you been here?
Me?
Yeah.
About 2.5 years as a vet, and before that, I worked here as a tech before vet school.
Okay. Wonderful.
This is a video recording?
Yes. So we're going to see you in action. And performing surgery on a little guy with his tail.
So he's doing surgery now. So yeah, I've been here 50 years. John Bush has been here since I think 1957.
Wow.
How many years is that? A long time. I'll get that too tight. I don't have anybody over anymore.
So it was you and Dr. Bush for the longest time, and now you have two more doctors, Dr. Cochran and Dr.
Oh my.
Reynolds?
In the past, this place was started by a guy named Sagers, Bill Sagers. You might know that. And I'm gonna switch that here. I think this is going to work all right. I think she's going to be happy. It's going to turn out pretty strong. Bill Sagers started it. In 1950, this place, the building was built.
Are you ready for this?
I think so. 1950. And we've, added on and remodeled. And, how many? We have four veterinarians that work here. That sometimes.
Wow.
There's two full-time, one full-time. Dr. Reynolds is full-time. Dr. Cochran is part-time. Dr. Bush is, during the summer, he's sometimes full-time. He comes up, he's goes to South Carolina in the winter.
So he's a snowbird.
He's a snowbird.
He's
sort
a
of,
snowbird.
Yeah. So yeah, he's 88 years old.
Wow.
Still doing it. He's kind of an inspiration to all of us.
It's a valuable service to the community because everyone has pets.
Yeah.
Everyone has
Yeah,
animals
we
they
do.
need to take care of.
I'm Dr. Katie Baker, 2010 graduate of CV, went to Ross University for vet school, came home in 2018, worked for some other people, and started my own business in 2019. And I have Knoxville Veterinary Services, and I do large animal, horses, cows, sheep, goats, and pigs.
Okay.
So today on Friday, we're here at the Indigo Wireless and Internet store here in Knoxville, and we're going to be introduced to the gal here at the counter. If you can tell us who you are.
My name is Michelle Whalen. I sell the cell phones for Indigo Wireless, and I do the sales for Extreme Internet.
Okay, so if somebody's looking to buy a phone and they haven't had a plan and they're here in the valley within your range of service, is that
Yes.
What you can help them with?
Yes.
Okay. About how far do the new towers, as far as range and distance from your office?
Well, we do have roaming agreements, so honestly, a phone through Indigo Wireless should work just about anywhere.
Okay. How many Indigo Wireless offices are there?
We now have 2. We have this one here in Knoxville. We have been here almost 9 years now. And we also have our main store over in Wellsboro.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Michelle. And is there anything else you would like to let us know about your business or anything like that? The business, Indigo?
It's a great company to work for.
Okay.
We're happy to be here.
All right. And you're here pretty much every day at this service desk, like, is it 9 to 5? Or?
Yes, I'm here Monday through Friday, 9 to 5.
Okay.
And, we can help you with your internet issues or, cell phone issues.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. Troops Creek comes down on the west side. We're looking west, and this is the new Dollar General store, which replaced last year in 2020. It replaced the old iconic Harina Mill, and it also, unfortunately, within just a few months of openings, suffered some parking lot erosion on the Troops Creek side during the August 19th, 2021 flood.